Rams at Raiders. Raiders open at -2.5. Now -4.5 or -5. Total open at 37. Now it's 35.5 at Pinnacle, 35 everywhere else. Sean McDermott, 3-5 against the spread, 3-5 over under 5 unders. John Gruden, 18-12-3 against the spread. This is when he turns it on. What a loser. 15-18 to the over under. Antonio Brown dealing with nonstop drama. We have the helmet issue that's coming up in the chat. We have the frostbite from the cryotherapy machine. I mean, it just never ends with them. Todd Gurley likely not going to play. He didn't play at all in exhibition last year. So we'll see basically what happens there. But Mike Glennon, Nathan Peterman will play, battling for the backup role. Bortles should see action. I don't know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? This is a tricky spot to cap here. Rams at Raiders. Donnie Rightside, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, we see the line creep up there, and who knows if it's, I mean, usually the public doesn't push around the lines. Hey, man, I really watched them on Hard Knocks. They look like they're working so hard. I just want to bet it and watch it. That's usually not really the case. But when you take a look at the Los Angeles Rams, they're notorious for saying in certain instances, we don't give a damn. The only thing that matters is we get to opening day without getting injuries. We've seen at the end, I remember, was it 2 years ago when the Rams were making their run? They played nobody in the last game of the season. The 49ers absolutely rolled them up. This is that same type of thing where they're only worried about getting healthy, getting into it. And I can just see that old, John Gruden in there. It's the Raiders, now we're in the front and center. We got to win football games and do all this stuff. I probably lean to the Raiders because I don't mind their backup quarterbacking in this game. Mike Glennon, Nathan Peterman. At least you have guys that have been around the NFL. John Gruden has schooled them well. And just taking a look from the opposite end, as I just talked about, the Rams, how much do they really care? And if we're looking at, Blake Bortles in the game, I mean, okay, that's nice. And Brandon Allen and John Walford out of I guess that's the kid. I want to say the kid out of Wake Forest. But I like it overall better. Do I think the Raiders will give a better performance and care for more? That's the way I'm going to lean in this one. No real sweat either way, but I'm not trusting the Rams. They don't give a damn.
They don't care, but at -4.5 or -5, I mean, this seems like so many points. This is the type of situation where Gruden will care about it. God, this guy makes no sense to me. Whale Capper, Rams, Raiders. How do you break this down?
What a loser, this Gruden guy. I got to tell you, that was pretty good, Jimmy. The Antonio Brown saga is absolutely bonkers. If you haven't already read up that Michael Silver thread, I can't really wrap my head around it other than, there's something not quite right with Antonio Brown, but we'll leave that for another day because I wouldn't expect to see him here even if he did have non-cryogenically frozen feet. I think the Raiders are the right side, though, and I don't mind laying the points, and it's not entirely because Gruden cares. They have a very young team. They have a lot of guys who will be making their first ever start in black and silver out there who they just got in this year's draft, guys who are hungry for some NFL action. The quotes about Nathan Peterman that we've heard from John Gruden over the course of this camp imply that he really does believe in this kid, and he's going to put him in a chance to, give him an opportunity to succeed this year. And by the way, I think the Raiders are probably a 2-14 team. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Nathan Peterman make some starts as we get down into the later half of this season. So I think Gruden would like to see what he has in Peterman in kind of a situation where he sets him up to succeed in the first half here. On the flip side, you mentioned the Rams don't particularly care. The Rams got a super late start to camp. They haven't been practicing very much. The only handful of practices they've had against the Raiders up in Napa recently. They have a very thin team. The second, third, fourth units on this Rams team are really, really, really poor. And I will not at all be surprised if the Raiders look like champs and the Rams look like hot garbage, and the Raiders kind of get a comfortable win here. So I'm interested in laying these Raiders points. I think they put on a show for us, and I think this carries into next episode of Hard Knocks, where they try to kind of shine how great things looked in preseason week 1, as opposed to kind of focusing on what in the hell is going on with their star wide receiver.
Is this another spot like the Titans where you double up first half, full game?
Yeah, I do actually think that makes sense, and I think. Are we going to see Blake Bortles for the Rams? Is Blake Bortles going to give us a pick six in the first half? Hopefully, that seems like a reasonable expectation. But in seriousness, though, I think the Raiders are a wire-to-wire winner here, and of the games from here to the end of Week 1, that's probably the only side I have legitimate confidence in.
That seems to make a lot of sense. Thinking about our guy, the Chicago Sports Informant, celebrating his birthday today. At this point, doubling up on the Raiders first half full game seems to be the look after all these breakdowns that I'm probably the most confident in. And I like you guys taking the under at Vikings Saints. I'm going to spend more time on that